I think this one is. I'm mad at the FA for pushing for maximum ban, because for me, based on what I've seen, I think he's guilty. I'm not even going to say allegedly, G. I think he's guilty. I'm entitled to my opinion there.
The Ballon d'Or winner, and then him being ousted from his position potentially by Mbappe could be controversial.
Monaco's still waiting on that Ballon d'Or money for Martial, right?
Welcome to Not For Kids podcast. It's your boy G, and I'm here with Marv. Marv, how you doing?
I'm okay, player. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Little bit sad the season's over. I don't know why, because Chelsea did so bad, but there you go.
Seriously, you're sad?
Yeah,
Mate,
well,
even with an FA Cup win, I've been praying for this season to be over for about... How long's the season? 9 months?
Yeah.
I've been praying for 8 months, man.
I don't know, maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome or something.
It took me a month to realise that we're garbage, but the minute I realised we're garbage, I was like, let's get this over. And injuries kept piling up, so I was just like, let's get this over. I mean, if you really deep the Man United season, the Ronaldo interview, the Sancho, the Greenwood, like, they feel so long ago, but... well, Greenwood was a bit further away, but like most of it's this season. Do you know what I mean? So problematic.
Yeah, definitely. If you're new, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But Marv, let's just jump straight in. So, Champions League final this weekend. After all the hype, I'm a little disappointed. How was it for you?
I was disappointed too, man. Like. But mainly because I thought Dortmund had a shot. The first half, they were the team on top, and I thought, oh, we got the beginnings of a real upset here. But you know, unlike Arsenal that have won nothing in Europe, other than the Cup Winners' Cup that none of us rate, Real Madrid just get it done, man. Like, it's heritage, it's pedigree, whatever you want to call it. Real Madrid in Champions League finals, they don't lose. Do you know what I mean? So. It ended up being true to form, but I was sad for Dortmund. They had a real shot at taking home the bacon there.
Yeah, it's a strange one because as well as Dortmund did, I kind of felt like they could have played for 3 games and Dortmund still would have found a way to lose, or Real Madrid would have found a way to win, if you put it like that. So yeah, it was. It felt a little bit anti-climatic for me. And you're right. I think Real Madrid just are a machine and just find a way to win. And I kind of felt at the end of the game, I was looking at it as like, if City are going to just win the Prem every year and Real Madrid are going to just win the Champions League every year, football's not going to be much fun for long. Because I definitely do feel that they've both kind of won it, I wouldn't say in second gear, but more being methodical and just with streetwise and know-how, rather than having to really be pushed to the limits of their potential. Let's see. I guess it's for the other teams to kind of step up next season.
But Pep will go in it. When Pep goes, things will change. So I'm not worried about City overall. And Madrid, I mean, they didn't win it last year. Like, it is the Champions League where anything can happen. So I would be surprised if both of them win. I think City probably will win the league again next year, but I'll be surprised if Madrid do it back to back, even with you-know-who just about to enter the doors.
Hold that thought. We'll jump on that a little bit later. Just before we do, in terms of the Champions League, I don't know which coverage you watch, but Ali McCoy did a great breakdown of like what the new format's going to be like for next year. Do you understand it?
Not a clue, really. I mean, the thing is...
Not a clue. I don't think he knows.
I guess it's just it's essentially them just trying to be the Super League without the Super League, right?
Yeah.
But if what I heard is correct, it just seems like another European league. There isn't like group stages in the same conventional way, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Well, I would say exactly that, but I'm just baffled by the whole thing. I think I'll probably get it. By the time I get it, they'll probably have changed the format again. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I guess it doesn't really apply to me anyway because we're not in it and we won't be in it. I don't think we're going to be in it for a while. So we'll see how that goes.
Not only you're not in that, you're not even in the Europa, man. No one knows the format of your competition because no one cares. Not even UEFA.
You know what? I think the format in the Conference League, apparently the format for all of the competitions is the same. Or maybe I misunderstood that. Just a lot more rubbish teams in our one than that. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
If
But
you get to the final, G, you going?
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Can't miss a European final.
Have they announced where it is yet?
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm
in
laughing
Poland.
already.
It's gonna be in Poland. Which is wait, listen. I don't want to offend anyone if in case you got any Polish fans, but I remember I was on the train back from Birmingham. I think you were actually on the train, the train, Marv. But when after we beat Bournemouth, I googled where the Europa League final was going to be. I thought, oh, Bilbao. I thought, wow, all right, cool, that could be good. And look now, we're to start the competition altogether.
But if you win this, you get Europa spot next year, right?
Yeah, but we got to be going for better than that. We got to be Europa qualifying for Europa next year. That could never be the aim.
What your boy Palmer scored on his full debut.
Yeah, just full England debut. Yeah, another pen.
Pen Palmer. I mean, you take him just for that alone on the basis that if they get to a shootout, you've almost got guaranteed money there, innit?
Yeah, you know, with Palmer, I was speaking to Alex about this before we started, and I don't know why Southgate brought him because I don't think he'll use him. I think he'll use him in the last 5 minutes, or if England are really in a hole. But he's creative and he's an exciting player. That's just anti everything Southgate stands for. So I just don't think he's going to get used.
The funny thing is, I watched the game yesterday and I thought he was quite poor. I thought he was on his heels a lot and a lot of things just didn't come off. Whereas Eze was like on the front foot and balling out. I thought Palmer was quite underwhelming overall, considering what I've seen him do for Chelsea.
But that's the thing, and Eze the same. Like, he's played Eze, and Eze looked really good. But do you really feel that you're going to see Eze in the tournament? I just can't see it.
But I reckon one of the mandates, and hence why a man like Rashford was dropped, is he wants to get the young talent that's going to carry this team for the next five years to just get the taste of tournament football with some vets like Kane and Walker and all that. So I think it's all deliberate to sort of set them up for World Cup in a couple of years from now, that they would have experienced how tournament football is to be played.
That makes a lot of sense. As we've kind of segued into England and falling out of the Champions League, I want to talk a little bit about Bellingham because there had been some talk about his form kind of going into the Champions League final and even his form in the Champions League final. Now, he gave a quite emphatic response saying he doesn't give something about what people say about him. But should England fans be worried about Bellingham's form, like in the key parts of the season? Because he kind of has fallen off a little bit in terms of that explosive output he had earlier in the season.
Yeah, to a degree, but I almost feel like he just set the levels too high in the first place, G. Like, he was banging consistently at the beginning. Like, he kind of reverted to what I expected him to do in the last 3-4 months. And there'll be haters out there that said he didn't do anything in the final. He got an assist. And also, can he do it in big games? He scored the winner in El Clasico. Like, in terms of domestic football, you don't get much bigger games than that. But it is a concern. You want them to be going to the next stage, going into the Euros on a high. And obviously, he's not playing the levels he was playing before. But ultimately, my guy's going home after his first season with Madrid with a Champions League and a La Liga title. Like, I don't know, did Owen and McManaman get that done? And Beckham, I don't know. I need to check that, but that's a pretty good record for your first season. I mean, the chances of United probably signing him after a couple of years have increased because he's just going to win all there is to win over there. You know what I mean? Man got to get bored out there.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll see how that goes. But it kind of does open the question about like his position, right? Because he's been playing a number 10 for Real Madrid, or at least a lot far further forward. I actually think he's getting harshly treated because if you judge him on the number 10, maybe his creative output wasn't that great in the final. But actually, if you just judge him on like all round midfield play, like I think his stats are still pretty good. Where would you start him for England? Would you start him further forward or would you start him in the middle?
Nah. There's too many There's too many technically better players to play as a 10. Like I'd even go as far as Palmer could play there ahead of him. You got Madison, you got Foden. All of them can do it. Plus, Kane's always going to drop deep, and his position at Madrid's a bit weird because if you look at the way they played, they kind of had Rodrigo and Vinicius as the frontman, but wide, and he was
Yeah,
supposed to just be bursting, which is not how England are going to play because Kane's going to be there, right? So
yeah,
I would just like, for me, I think Rice has got the DM sewn up. There's better in the 10, so you'd play him in like, I don't know what they call it, the 8 role, right? Like the box to box person. Obviously, he's competing with my boy Cobby, which is tighter than you think. But I think they might just give it to Bellingham, uh, just to keep him happy. But yeah, I mean, I think, and we've had lots of debates about it in the WhatsApp group with Ollie and stuff. I've never said Bellingham is the best midfielder. Like I never said that. I just want to be very clear about that. But I did say he's the future captain of England, and I stand by that. It wouldn't surprise me if the armband goes from Kane to him. I think he's that good, that mature, that young, that much of a leader that even if I wouldn't be judging him just on his outputs from goals, just on his sheer contribution around the pitch. I think he's going to be one to watch for years to come.
absolutely. And yeah, I think even more eyes will be on him next season when he's lining up alongside Kylian Mbappe, which is a nice segue into kind of our next kind of talking point, which is you've got uh, you got Mbappe who likes to kind of play in the left channel. You've also got Vinny Jr. who likes to play in the left channel, who Rio Ferdinand was kind of hyping up for Ballon d'Or after his goal. Um, how does Ancelotti get both into the team and get the best out of both of them, Marv?
Well, first of all, do you think Rio's wrong for Ballon d'Or calls? Because this is slim pickings. I think he's in the hat,
It's
and
slim
maybe the front
pickings.
runner.
You just got to see the footage because he said it about 7 times consecutively. And like I think BT Sports or whoever it was that he was covered for, like had like a countdown next to him, like Ballon d'Or 1, 2, 3. But but yeah, I'm not sure. You're right. It's definitely an open field this year. But I mean, having him there as the Ballon d'Or winner and then him being ousted from his position potentially by Mbappe could be controversial.
Nah, G man, this is what we wanted. We were all sick of Messi and Ronaldo, the monopoly, right? And now it's time to see what it is. And based on winnings and performance, I think he's more than in the hat, right? But I also think Mbappe might be in with a shout. I think the Euros is going to be one of those defining pieces of criteria which will help make the decision. But Vinny was balling. I think Rio's Rio in it. He's not. Let's not pretend he's like some amazing pundit. But in answer to your question, I have been streaming legally, may I add, um,
As you do.
the Micah Richards Paramount stuff. Like they between him, Kate, and Thierry Henry, they're great. Carragher's alright, but I could leave him at home to be honest. But I didn't watch any of the UK footage because I think their coverage is top draw. But I think Rio's right here. I think he's in the hat. I think he's in the top 2, 3 of contenders to win the Ballon d'Or this season.
You think he is? So do you think?
Hey, that's right.
So
And you
when
know what? In answer to your question,
Mbappe,
I
yeah,
can't see it myself, G, because you can't move the potential future Ballon d'Or winner in Vinny somewhere else. But that is where Mbappe plays. It's almost like it's a major coup for Real Madrid, but it's also like kid in a candy shop. Like he's there, we got to get him. It's not a need. It's not a need signing, right? Now people are saying that Mbappe is going to play through the middle or whatever, but they might just play free flowing interchange football because obviously Rodrigo and Vinicius Junior swap wings all the time when I watch him play. So I think it might just be free flowing footy, but it's one of those things when you win the Champions League and the league, you mix up that formula. If you don't deliver, people are going to be questioning real quick. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But overall, it's like I saw something on Twitter where it was like talking about FIFA 25, and they were like, "Hey, everyone's gonna be Real Madrid. I'm gonna be Real Madrid. we'll change the shirt color, but no one's gonna deviate from Real Madrid." So it is what it is, man. It'll be exciting to see. But I think hopefully this puts to bed the thought that they would also want to go in and get Haaland as well. Cause with Hendrick as well, it's just getting greedy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's getting terrible.
And actually, Hendrick's supposed to play that 9, isn't he? Is that his position?
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of him, but yeah, 9 is what I've heard is his best position.
I mean, if they can move one of them out to right, then Rodrigo's the easy full guy. Although I think he's top drawer as well. To be fair,
that's the thing. Like he's been brilliant. So yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to pick actually in there. But all this talk about Vinny and winning the Ballon d'Or, Vinny could have easily been sent off in that Champions League final, right? With that second yellow. You know me, I've made my stance clear. The spectacle of the game comes above it all. So I'm glad the referee did the right thing. But
that's not what you said before.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know you're being sarcastic, but I want to make sure we don't. For new listeners to the point, let's be clear. G wanted the Coventry goal to stand, so United don't go to the FA Cup final. But anyway, sorry. I don't think it was the wrong decision by the ref. G. I don't know.
You don't think?
Nah. I don't think it was the wrong decision. I can't remember the first yellow, but I also thought that was a bit harsh, if I remember correctly. But it is what it is, man. I think of all the gripes Dortmund should have, I don't think it should be that. I'd be more annoyed at Adeyemi, who should have gone round Courtois the other way and finished his breakfast, right? So like there's other reasons why they were unsuccessful. And I'll also be the first. Me, G, I love to hold my hands up. I'll also hold up my hands and say Sancho was nowhere in that game. Like he was pretty invisible. After having a really good quarterfinals, he weren't about that life at all in the finals. So he'll come back to the to Carrington with the man them walking around with them FA Cup medals, and he'll just have some runners-up medal from Champions League. So we'll see how that plays out.
Someone else who was nowhere in that game, but suddenly found himself prime position for every camera shot was Kepa. I can't believe how shameless that this guy was. This guy was jumping on people's backs, hugging people, taking pictures with his girl, with the medal between his teeth. Like, guy, you went out there to be Courtois' backup. You ended up being third choice keeper. I don't know how he could celebrate so hard. So full kit. I mean, John Terry gets a lot of stick for the Champions League final. Kepa's got to be up in there with one of the most shameless people when it comes to kind of winning things.
Yeah, and what's baffling, G, is one of the things I mentioned on the Willis last week, that people are just begging it. Like, you got to contribute. Although I did see a fun fact that, and I'm pretty sure it must have been fake, but I saw a fact that Real Madrid winning it means Chelsea's got to fork out more cash to you, I think, because of Kepa and Hazard. And if the Hazard one is true, that's just lunacy to me. Man's all fat and doing charity games, and that would be crazy to me. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Well, also apparently we get more from Mount from you winning the FA Cup than you getting the FA Cup prize money as well. I don't know how true these things are, but I'll tell you something for nothing. I prefer to have the trophies and give the prize money back. So
yeah. Let me be clear. Mount went Wembley with you, man, a bag of times.
and you know what? He blew it. He blew it.
Oh, he blew it. Yeah. He didn't lift. So, you know what? To make a poor Chelsea orphan happy for the day to lift, I'll pay whatever price we ended up paying you, man, for that. So I'll take that all day. But the thing is, it's all about numbers, right? Because I think before the game they were saying that Dortmund stood to make more money from Real lifting than if they did it because of the Bellingham deal, right? So it's all
Yeah.
little contract intricacies. I mean, Monaco's still waiting on that Ballon d'Or money from Martial, right?
They're
So
going to be waiting for a while for that.
they're gonna be waiting for a hell of a long time for that, right? So it is what it is, but I'm okay with that. I'm all right. Like overall, it's over now. G, we could just turn our head to the Euros and pretend the season didn't happen. The stark reminder for you will be when you start qualifying in Slovenia come August, but we'll take it from there.
It's true. But someone who won't be in the Conference League next year is Jose Mourinho. He was pitch side at the Champions League final, and then flew into Galatasaray for all bells and whistles. He had his own
Not
song coming
Galatasaray,
out.
Fenerbahce, right? Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
but my bad. I
that's the
can't
sort
get
of
that
thing.
one mixed up.
Yeah,
You might get killed for that one.
yeah.
But yeah, flies into Fener, has his own music, comes out like a wrestler. You know, is this the last stop for Jose Marv? Like if he fails here, or even if he wins here and he falls off, do you see him getting another job?
I mean, I've said it for a while. Like maybe pre-Roma, I was saying Jose just needs to just go to international ball and chill out. Like take a Belgium or I don't know a Portugal or a USA, something like that, and just chill out, right? But ultimately, I think this job's perfect for him, right? Because the Turkish league isn't as high stakes. There's clearly the opportunity to win something because Fenerbahce lost one game last season, 90 something points, but still lost to Galatasaray because they just drew too many games. They have one of the best Brazilians I've ever witnessed at Old Trafford in Fred in that stable of players. So ultimately, I'm pretty confident that he can go there and lift some silverware with the addition of a couple of signings. So I think it's a great move for him. He can win one last bit of silverware. He should have packed it in after he won the Conference League with Roma, to be honest, and then off to the international sunset. We'll see, but I don't know. Jose just loves it. Like I think any Prem club that gives him a little bit of a whiff, he'll be willing to entertain it. So hopefully we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see again.
I can't lie though. Seeing him in that, it was. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was an hour and 15 minutes press conference, from what I gather. And just seeing him back in his element and looking happy and looking passionate again, it did kind of like, well, yeah, I'm trying to think of something that I don't have to say no Diddy after. But it definitely, I definitely felt happy for him. Let's put it that way.
I mean,
Cool.
that's your love of him. Like I never liked him, to be fair. I was pretty excited, and people who had listened to our pod many years ago will know that I was the person that said I was there eating popcorn for his first presser at United. But I think the problem that I had with him, even watching the doc with him at Spurs, was just I always felt like it was more about Jose than the team, right? And I know he's a special one, and that I'm very, very, very complimentary of his achievements in the game. In fact, when we were talking before, I'll put him just below Ancelotti in my top five. I'd probably go Pep, Cruyff, Sir Alex, Carlo because of what he's won, and Jose. And a lot of the people in that is because I think we talked about it many, many moons ago about the fact that for me, GOAT management status are managers that transform the game, right? Like they make the game be played in a different way. Now I'm not talking like Terry Venables and the Christmas tree, right? I'm talking about like a proper different way of playing ball, G, and that's kind of where I'm landing on that. So I think he's I hope he doesn't get to a point where next thing we're seeing him at, I don't know, Toronto Rangers or something like that. Like there's got to be a line there. But I'm excited to see what happens, and shout out to Fred, who a lot of Man United, a lot of Man United players have been really, really critical of. But I think he gets us another 6-7 points if we had him this season. So that's
I
where
don't know how you always find a way to get Fred into the convo, but well done. you did
Gee,
well.
just look at the league, man. We haven't had legs all season, and Fred would have given us legs. Simple as that.
Cool. Well, let's that Champions League wrap up. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the boxing. So we had Frank Warren versus Eddie Hearn out in Saudi Arabia. Whitewash in terms of the result, but a few things in the fallout. First thing I want to talk about, Marv, is it time for Wilder to hang it up?
100%. You can't.
No,
You
we
can't
could
be.
have did there.
You can't be pirouetting and then getting banged onto the floor like that and think you still got a career in boxing. Like, the truth is, and it's sad for me to say it, is there was a period, maybe 4 to 5 years ago, you had AJ, you had Wilder, you had Fury. 3 dominant heavyweights in the game. They made the Fury and the Wilder fight. Joshua never really got involved. But there was this, and I think it's just the fact that he's American, there was this hysteria, the bronze bomber, like no one gets up from his hits. Fury put that to bed, got up, got off the canvas for that. And I can't remember who he fought. You might remind me, G. I don't know who he fought before Zhang, but he looked shocking then.
Yeah, it did.
And we're now in those sort of twilight years where people are still trying to get paper. That's where he is, but for the sake of his own health, his family, I think this should be it. But it wouldn't surprise me if Joshua loses his next fight or Fury just needs to get back, doesn't want to retire, or doesn't fight Usyk, that one of them get in the ring for him just for nostalgic purposes. But 100%, Mr. Chicken Leg should just give it up now.
Was it Parker that he fought last? Before?
Yeah, it was Parker.
Yeah, it was Parker. Yeah, that I was wondering if he had another one in between, but yeah, he looked really bad against Parker, and Parker is not great.
No,
the worst thing about it is like, but we all knew, and we've talked about this before. Like he had deficiencies in his boxing style. Like he wasn't.
And he started late, right?
He started late. He didn't go to the Olympics, which I've always kind of thought, well, what's the big deal about that? Just go, if you're good, you're good. But apparently a lot of the boxers learn their technique and learn their trade kind of in the Olympics in terms of the way they fight. So he never really had a defense. People were just scared of his right hand. But the worst thing is, like, he was getting the right hand off or trying to get the right hand off, and it just seemed totally ineffective. Like, even when it landed, you were kind of like, it's not bothering in this guy at all. And then, but the way he got punched and the way he went down, the way he took the first punch, and he turned to the referee and was like, he's not allowed to punch me like that. Rather than trying to get his hands up and kind of get into position. Then another one just came, and it's always bad when the feet go up and then hit the ground again, like, and you look like you're asleep. And he's got up, but he might as well just stay on the canvas.
I mean, it sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but there's a graceful way to get knocked out, right? You get punched, you fall over. When you're spinning or you get knocked out of the ring or you do this and that, you then just get into meme and gif land. That's exactly what it is, because the spin was, as you said, very comical, but then the actual connection for the knockdown was like, you're lucky you're still alive. Flush on the chin, straight down like a wall of bricks. It was terrible to see, G. And that to me is the end, but the Saudi money keeps rolling in. And as long as the Saudi money keeps rolling in, I don't think anybody can say with a degree of certainty whether it's done. But I mean, Hearn was pretty like chill about it, but Warren just embarrassed him. Like the whole
sweep the floor with him.
Like it was 12 fights, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
No,
10, was it? Yeah, 10. I think
you got to win like 30-40%, man. One of your men got to stand out. It was pretty bad to see, to be fair.
Definitely. No, definitely Eddie Hearn was the big loser. But what was the big winner, Dubois, Marv? And, you looking forward to him for fighting AJ?
Let me tell you, there's nothing less interesting about watching Dubois fight. Dubois is like... He gives me Danny Williams vibes. You know what I'm saying, G? He's very basic. He's got no pizzazz, no snaz at the pressers, the ability to build a fight. He's not particularly inspiring within the ring. I would be, to be honest with you, I don't know where the AJ stuff has come from to this level where people are saying it's going to get done. Because for me, that's like 2,000 steps down the ladder for AJ, right? Like you could probably just even as rubbish as we think Wilder is, you'd rather fight Wilder than Dubois because that at least that's going to give you US money, and then you got Fury looks like he's going to invoke the Usyk rematch, but someone's going to lose there. There's probably better fights out there for AJ. I think if he ends up taking the fight, then that's him just coming to the end of his career as well. So I'll be surprised, but oh man, like Dubois doesn't excite me at all, G.
So you're clearly not having Dubois.
I'm not having it at all.
How do you feel about Tyson and Paul being postponed? Is that postponing just going to lead to a cancellation now?
I hope it does, G, because I don't want to see it. I mean, I probably will watch it. I'd lie to you, but it's one of those things where Tyson's just too old. He needs to get paid, and I think they said like an ulcer's flared up. Like that's like old man style injuries. You know what I mean? Next it'll be his piles are giving him trouble, or you know what I mean? He needs this is just not a fight that needs to be made. And to an extent, it's almost like I've kind of taken a step back about the whole Jake Paul saga, and I'm kind of like, we should be now in a position where we start thinking about, you know what, Paul, go professional and literally fight people of your weight class that are in the hat as you, and let's see if you can make a go of this, or you've proved the point that you can fight washed up fighters keen for a payday, but I'm just not interested anymore, right? Like we're talking maybe double his age. It's not a spectacle, and it's actually quite sad that's where Tyson is, where he needs that payday.
Yeah, no, it just generally, I think that.
Did you watch it?
You hate to see it.
Did you watch all the fights? Because I didn't. I just saw the
Wilder one. You know what? I just watched the Wilder one, and I don't know. I wasn't really interested in the series. This promoter versus that promoter.
Yeah.
Until it came to a whitewash, because I thought that was funny, and Frank Warren got $3 million out of that apparently. So I mean, he's particularly happy. But apart from that, I don't think it was a particularly great weekend for boxing, as much as people would try to tell you differently. What I didn't realize is
when have we seen a great night for boxing? Really, if we're brutally honest.
I know, but you would think if the promoters put 5 of their best fighters each, or 10 of their best fighters each, whichever it was, and you'd think that would come to some great stuff. Although, I mean, I don't know when it was that Wilder became friends with Eddie Hearn, because he's had some choice words to say about him before, and next thing he's on his roster kind of fighting on his behalf. So maybe he threw it on purpose. But yeah, it was it.
I didn't you go with that one. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, another underwhelming week of boxing. I don't know whether we romanticize it. We hope it'll come back. We keep on giving it airtime and talk, but actually, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to consider next season whether we even continue to talk about boxing, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean, you still got some fire, and you still got the likes of, Gervonta Davies, Haney, Canelo's still around. There's fighters there, but actually, I'd go as far as to say the promoters aren't doing their job. They're not bringing it to life. They're not getting us excited. And obviously, a lot of eyes were on the heavyweight division, and now those people are starting to fall away. It is a bit in limbo, but because I'm a purist at heart, well, I never call myself a purist, but I'm thoroughly not interested really in misfits boxing and these YouTubers getting in, but they're stealing a march because the younger generation doesn't care about heritage and history. They want to
Yeah.
see like the guy that they watch streaming FIFA to they want to see that person get in the fight with the other guy that he was streaming FIFA with. So it's just like it's getting to a point of really not being ideal. So that's kind of where I am, and like at the moment I'm struggling to see my way back. G in regards to boxing being that thing that used to excite me, and like where it was almost like, you know what I mean, G, where it's almost like a no brainer to do pay per view, or at least like
Yeah.
encourage one of your friends to pay for it. Like it used to be a no brainer. This is the biggest fight. I'm gonna watch this. Now I'm at a point where because I'm old, so I don't want to stay up till 3, 4 o'clock anymore. Do you remember those nights, G, where we'd stay up, people fall asleep, don't
Oh
like
man,
they
that's painful.
like drift in and out of consciousness, have a beer, wake back up. Like those days are long gone, and it's not just age; it's just because no one excites me enough to do that. So the cross of not people not being exciting enough, it being late, I just wake up in the morning, pull up YouTube or Insta or Twitter, see the highlights, and then I go on with my day. So that's the problem, and actually that's why the Saudi money's been rolling in, right? Because the money's got to come from somewhere, and I would bet your bottom dollar that if you look at all the graphs, they're all trending down in regards to where we are on that sort of scale. So that's where we are.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you. All right, switch lanes again. I've got two bits of controversy I want to kind of touch on, and
Yeah.
we haven't really done it justice yet so far. But the Lucas Paqueta situation. I've been hearing different things. I don't, guess nothing's confirmed, but people are talking about lifetime bans or 10-year bans, which effectively is a lifetime ban for how Lucas is at his age. Marv, we've all seen the footage. What's your gut instinct? Allegedly about what you saw, and whether he has a case to answer.
I mean, this is a slam dunky as you get, G. Like, you know what I mean? Even LeBron would get this one in with Yankees. Like, it's my stance on gambling. I've been pretty vocal, pretty clear that as long as you're not influencing the game, footballers should be allowed to gamble on games that they don't have any ability to affect the outcome, right? Like if I'm a Premier League player, I wake up, I go, oh, I fancy Leicester to beat Leeds in the Championship. I should be able to do that bet. I also feel very passionately that this whole hoo ha of, oh, they've got the inside track, they know people, it's just so flawed where you think physios know people, physios probably know exactly who's fit and who's not. They can talk to their wives, you can think pedicurists, you can hairdressers, barbers, anybody that comes into contact with footballers to understand an injury or their mental health space or whether they'll start or whether the manager's thinking differently, all can affect the play. And, to pick on footballers, I think is just very basic. And, there's, they got the inside track is nonsensical to me, right? So I've been very clear that that's how I feel. But this is not Paqueta's situation, right? Like, it seems as though the gambling that he's done, and I wonder. I'm trying to remember. I think
Allegedly.
I think Tonali is the same, but we're not talking like. And even G, I kind of take a sort of a relaxed stance when if he backs himself to score because he should be scoring without money behind him. But you know what? If it gives you a little bit of an impetus to go out and get the goal, go out and get the goal, player. Like that is helping your team. But from what I've seen and the charges, the very unnecessary yellow cards, and you can see on Insta like lots of mashups of where they've put a little collage together of all of it. It reeks of guilt, right? I don't think there's a way back for him. City dodged a bullet there, but also the bit that I'm still very keen to explore is like why are we still getting this like half ban like investigation? Like for me it's slam dunk. For me it's at least enough to suspend somebody instantly. it's the same thing that happened with Tony, and it gets to a stage of you let these people play, but their availability can have quite a marked impact on the story of clubs, right? Like,
Mhm.
if Tony gets banned immediately, do Brentford finish where they did a couple of seasons ago? West Ham looked terrible without Paqueta, and I think that was an injury. That wasn't the ban at the time. And you just think if that injury they tend to have banned and he never ever played any more football this season, would they have been in the relegation battle? If Paqueta doesn't play, do they beat, I don't know, Luton or whoever? Those sorts of impacts are quite seismic to the outcome of the Prem. So I've got a little bit of a problem there, and I'm just not sure. I think this one is I'm mad at the FA for pushing for maximum ban, because for me, based on what I've seen, I think he's guilty. I'm not even going to say allegedly, G. I think he's guilty. I'm entitled to my opinion there. But I do question like when they decide to ban versus when they let people play with a ban pending, so to speak.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you, Marv. It's not looking good. I just hope. I mean, look, the pictures look pretty conclusive. I'm sure if the FA had taken their time to charge him, that means that there is more things that they're looking into the gambling patterns and the habits, etc. I just hope. I just don't trust the FA to have the teeth to kind of go through it. I'm sorry, like there's so many times where things have seemed pretty clear, or I mean, you look at the Man City case for instance, and that's just been dragging on for years. If the FA have got evidence, they need to make sure they've got it, present it, and be decisive. That's my only thing. But yeah, it's a shame. I personally don't. I'd like to see him be able to play again. I don't think it should be a career long ban. I guess people might feel differently about that. I mean, do you feel he should be able to play again?
I'm on the fence, G. I'm on the fence because age is a factor here, right? But I honestly think I'm totally for people gambling, but when you're having impacts which effectively could impact my gambling, and do that sort of thing, I can understand why taking a harsh line will help send a message and a deterrent to the rest of the league and footballers. So I'm not mad at it, but I also think it would come out of the blue because he'd be the first that I'd seen in Premier League, at least that's out for good. So we'll see, man. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
Fair play. All right, one final switch of gear. Do you want to talk briefly about Caitlin Clark,
Yeah,
who
let's
has been
talk about it.
getting a little bit of rough treatment in the WNBA, and over the weekend she was body charged by I can't remember, Kennedy, is that her name?
Yeah, yeah.
And and Angel Reese got up and cheered like as if she'd scored a basket in the final minute. Um, it, are we making too much of this? Marv, what's your opposing view? Where do you sit in this whole debate?
So let me be clear, right? I'm not interested in WNBA. Right, I want to be very clear.
I am now, to be fair.
Well, hold that thought, right? As a spectacle, it's like they don't even dunk. Gee. Like they don't dunk, right? And then you've got all of this stuff here where people are saying, "Oh, they should get equal pay," blah blah blah. If you look at the money that the WNBA contributes to the NBA overall versus what the NBA is contributing, I think the WNBA is worth like 1 percentage point of the overall revenue. So, if anything, if they were to get what they're worth, they probably will be for a pay cut. That being said, March Madness with Angel Reese on one side, Caitlin Clark on the other, was the first game that I logged in because of the hysteria of these two teams and the two players, right? Caitlin Clark actually took her to school. She's now gone first round pick in the draft. They've both been drafted. I think Reese went number 2. And the whole hoopty heart is quite seismic because I think we talked about it. I don't think we talked about it on the pod, but the deal that Caitlin Clark got was pretty seismic. She's also got a shoe deal where a number of players haven't got. But I'm not mad at that because she's the new face of the sport. Give her a deal, right? I think the Kennedy Carter thing is interesting to me with the Angel Reese because it shows the power of the media. Because if you look at what happened, she did get body checked, she did go to the ground. Angel Reese did applaud that, but actually, the difference is, and what people don't know is, Caitlin Clark body checked Kennedy Carter earlier on in the game. But Angel Carter didn't flop. She just took the charge and moved on with her life. And also, you can see footage of Caitlin Clark giving the big one, like giving the talk. It's
She's
just
definitely
like,
got some chat.
yeah. So it's just like, it's like the face of the sport gets a little bit of protection, media rally. I saw some commentary of her being like single and not single, white and straight. It's like media darling. Overall, it's bringing some pizzazz back to the sport. I'm totally here for it. I won't watch a game, but overall, I think I can understand why they're saying Clark's getting a hard time because her team obviously got the first pick, so they're not great. And I think what's more worrying for Caitlin Clark is none of her teammate came and backed her. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
got charged. No one came to, you know how they do it in basketball when they pull you up. None of that happened. I think it is a bit of a storm in a teacup, but I also want to be clear that I just don't. I just think people need to look at all the facts before they rally to her support. She's no angel. Oh, that's
She's
a good
definitely
pun.
that's a great fun. She's definitely no angel. She runs her mouth quite a bit. And you know what? I have to say as well, speaking of, Angel actually got some rough treatment previously as well. I remember there was one pool where like it was again totally out of bounds, out of play, and she just smashed her head against the floor, and there was
Oh,
none
she
of
put her
this
head. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
there was none of this hysteria as well, which makes you think about like the inequality and the response as well. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm with you, and I think with things like this happens in basketball all the time, from what I understand, right? Like when I was at the Mavs game, their lucky charm, I saw about two or three fouls along the same lines. So I hope they don't overhype it and make it more than what it is just because it's in the WNBA. Like you get bad fouls in every sport all the time. Let's just take it and
Yeah,
move
and
on.
like, let's be clear, like Reese is no angel either, right? And I think what was interesting was she's actually billed as a bit of the bad girl of the sport, like doesn't take any prisoners. And then when they got knocked out, she was the first to tear up and say it's so hard and I get so much abuse. And I was just like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like everyone wants to play victim when it doesn't go their way, and that's not a female comment I'm making. I'm just talking generally. People like to be the victim when things aren't going their way. So I think it's actually great for the sport. G. Like when did we
Yeah.
ever think you and I would be talking about WNBA? I mean, next episode, we'll go and watch March Madness together, and you'll be telling me it's coming to London, and we'll get tickets like we are with the NFL. But I can't see that happening for the next 30 to 40 years. So yeah, we'll go for there.
We'll see how it goes. All right, and now it's time for
What you talking about, Willis?
Do you know what, G? We only did what was the last show? Friday. So it's
Yeah.
taken me. There's not been as much run rate to get this in. So I'm only going to talk about two today. But the first one I wanted to talk about made me uneasy. I don't know if you saw it. And actually, another first. Last week I gave. Well, this is an honourable mention, so I'm not giving it to it. But uh, I'm actually. I don't know if you saw it, but did you see the German poll up in arms about Gundogan being named as captain for the Euros? A German media outlet launched a poll asking whether the fans want more white players or all white players and less Turkish or people from foreign descent being in the German team out of outrage of Gundogan being named captain. I think
I actually missed that.
I think it's shocking, and I think the honourable mention is both to the German fans who I think voted that that's what they wanted, and to the media outlet to putting such such a divisive poll into the market in the first place. Nagelsmann come out and said and totally been disgusted by the fact that poll was floated. But I think it's just a clear and present reminder that, and it's not a black or white thing, it's just a white and other thing, that there's still people who hold, obviously, places in the media that think that there's a place for those sorts of conversations, which is really sad. So honorable mention both to the German fans and the media outlet that did that. But I think you would have missed this one as well, because it came across my door because my young happening cousins told me all about it. But I did watch the game. I don't know if you know it, but the beta squad, who's made up of the likes of young Philly Chunks, those sorts of YouTuber influencers that aren't doing boxing and are doing things, collecting for charity, etc. They hosted a charity match on Sunday versus AMP, who are a US collective hosted by Kai Cenat for a charity game. And I think they raised tons of money. A lot of it was for better water treatment in Africa. Very commendable. I think my son and I watched it. It was a live stream. Tickets sold out. It finished 6-6, but it finished not on time because the fans invaded the pitch 1 or 2 minutes into injury time and they couldn't get the game restarted. It was just probably a bit of under investment in stewarding, and we've been there, so we know that those people don't care about their jobs. But that all happened. But the one story, and I encourage you to have a look at it. There was a person who played with almost like a Deadpool mask, and on his back it was called Anonymous. So you had all these YouTubers, Drewski was there as well, and then you had this one person playing with a Deadpool mask called Anonymous. I think he scored 1 or 2 goals, and the word on the street and the high conviction of that player who was playing in a charity match with YouTubers was that it was Tottenham, well, not Tottenham, Genoa's Jed Spence was the player that played for them. Now, there's 2 things there, right? I don't want to say no footballers are playing, because Daniel Sturridge played for them as well. He was there, but he's retired, been out of the game for a couple of years. But the fact that Jed Spence, somebody that's had a really tough go at Spurs, now looks like he's moving to Italy. I think that deal's done. Did the Anonymous and played. I was just like, oh man, do you remember him at Forest? I remember Tottenham signing him and thinking, what a coup.
I was jealous.
To go from that to this, it's not like Dele Alli vibes, but I think it should be. And I'm not saying playing in that game is a bad thing, but I don't think it's a game for people still relatively young and professional, right? This is a charity kick around like the Sidemen do regularly as well. So really, really not ideal for Jed. The Anonymous thing is weird, and I think, the way he got found out, I think his sister was there and kind of caught him on an Insta story or just said he was there. So that's my Willis of the week. Jed, just stick to playing pro football, man. You don't let Tottenham get you down, player. Keep doing your thing.
Oh man, I want to see Jed come back. I really thought he had a bright future.
What is he, a right back or a left back?
I thought it was a left back, if I remember correctly. But I think it was quite telling that Conte clearly didn't want him. No. When it came in. But yeah, that's a shame, man. That's a shame. Jed, come on, man. We got your back. Or come on the pod and tell us why you did it. We'd love to hear from you.
Or at least admit that you did it. That would be a start. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, look, that's it for this evening. Don't forget, subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube, all the big vendors. Marv, thanks for all your comments as usual. And yeah, we're done. Peace.